Hi, I'm Carola, and on Instagram I'm at From Carola. In this video, I want to chat about the Hobonichi planners and how I'm going to use them in 2023 and how I've set them up, or how I am setting them up. So first I'll talk about the Hobonichi weeks. I got the mega size, which gives you over 217 notes pages. They're just graph pages in the back. And how I plan on using this book is as a wallet bujo or a bullet journal, because I love the bullet journaling style, but for 2023 I wanted something that was dated just to take away some of the time that I needed to set up layouts. And so this is already set up for me, and I'll do a little walkthrough of how I plan on using it and how I've set it up. So I was inspired by Cecilia at Scientist Plans. You can watch her videos on YouTube, and I love how she uses her weeks and all the different ideas that she has. And so I wanted to include the weeks as part of my main lineup for 2023. I did use the regular weeks. I actually used two of them in my 2022 lineup, but I want to use this one as a planner in 2023. It's also because this way I can have one everyday carry planner that I can just throw into my bag if I'm outside of the house. And if I'm in the house, it's so easy to just, open to whatever page I need and make an update when I need it. So I use this little sticky folder that comes with it. I'm just going to keep my dot stickers and things like that I need. This is my cover page. A little seal from the Coffee Monsters Co., which is super cute. This yearly overview I'll use to track my cycle. And then we get to the yearly index. And I'm going to use this the same way I did in 2022, which is basically to track when bills are paid, when they're due, when credit cards are paid, and all that kind of stuff. So it's mostly a financial overview. The monthlies, how I'd like to use this is actually turn it sideways and write this way. And I did this for 2022, and I just found that there was more room in the monthly dates to write in. So I'd like to track Patreon subscriptions, things like that I'm part of, when those are due. And I'm also going to use this as a mail tracker, or packages that I've ordered and when they're shipped and when they're delivered. I'll also use this section as a monthly log in a bullet journal style. So I'll just log quickly what I have to get done for the month, or what I'd like to get done, a little bit of future planning in these sections. So I've drawn in pencil a little box that leads up to the upcoming week, and I think in that box I'll just write any packages that I've ordered, and also any kind of future planning for that week. And that's how I'll use the monthly pages. And the weeklies, I'll have this pencil board in here. On the pencil board I'll have a sticky where I put in sort of week over week projects that don't necessarily have to be completed that week. And so I don't have to keep writing them over and over. I'll just keep them on a Post-it, which makes it super handy. And this layout was actually inspired by at Hey Planner Girl on Instagram. I love their layouts in their weeks. So I was inspired by one of the layouts, and I just customized it for how I wanted it to look like. So, and the first section, so I've drawn a pencil line here. This first section here is for important things. So I'll put in priority tasks or deadlines that I have to meet in terms of creative projects. And the second section here, I'll put in events, and it will be birthdays, anniversaries, launches and holidays and stuff like that I kind of just have to keep an eye on. And then I also I drew in a pencil line here to create a next section here where I'll put in just an overview of a schedule So it won't be too much information. It will just be any appointments and anything that has to do with my kids that will probably take me out of the house or that I have to do. And then on top here, I'll just track my habits, and I have the days of the week up here. So I'll just do an X, or I'll use a dot marker and I'll just put in a dot when I've done one of these things. This section here is just a time schedule. So it starts at 5 a.m. and it ends at 10 p.m. And this section, I think I will just use it for when I'm out of the house. So I'll just put a dot where I have an appointment or something to get to. And without too much context, I can look at the schedule column and just see what's happening during that day and during that time. It's just sort of an overview of the week, and I think that's how I like to use my weeks, is all of the information is here, but it's sort of just an overview, and then my other planners will have context around what I have to get done or where I have to be. So this last section here will be for weekly to-dos, so it'll be my weekly log, bullet journaling style. I'll just log in quickly here what needs to get done, and when I've completed it, I'll put an X in the column that corresponds to the day of the week. And that's how I'll use the weekly as an overview. As you can see, there's a lot of information I can fit in here, and really it's just at a glance. So when I look at a certain day, I know what's going on in that day, but I can also see what's going on in the whole week. And I kind of like this kind of overview where there isn't a lot of information, but there's just enough for me to know what's going on during the week. And I'm using these little Midori tabs, which are copper tabs, and they're very, they don't stick out too much, so you don't notice them too much, but I like them because you can just keep moving them around, and I'll just move them around to the next week so I know what week I'm in. I always have blotting paper, so I can use a fountain pen because this is Tomoe River paper, so it's very fountain pen friendly. And I'm kind of deciding between using fountain pen or just the Uni Jetstream that the Hobonichi pen is, and you get a free one with your weeks. So I might use that on the go, and then when I'm at home, I can use a fountain pen. So this section here is the notes section. And how I've set it up is this first page will be for my intentions. I do this in every book and every planner, every journal. I just write down what my intentions are for this book and how I would like to use the book. If I ever get lost in what the purpose of the book is, I can always come back to this page and see how it evolves over the year. So the next couple of pages are going to be for the index. And this is not so much, what every page contains. It's more so in context. I can quickly refer to this index to see if there's important information that I need to refer to. So that's how I'll use those two pages. And then this page will be for projects. So it will be for ongoing creative projects or just things I want to get done during the year. The next few pages are future planning. Similar to a bullet journal, I've set up 3 months at a time, and I'll use the Alistair method to just put a dot where I want to get a task done. So it won't be an order of month. It'll just be, any of the tasks, and I'll put a dot for what corresponding month I want to get it done. And that will be for the full year pretty much. And then I get into what I call the daily logs. So again, similar to a bullet journal, I'm going to start December 1st actually. So I'll just, put in the date, and I'll do a rapid log of what I need to get done for the day and some thoughts around what happened, some highlights maybe, and some notes that I need to refer to at another time. And this cute little vellum printable is a freebie from Sterling Ink from her Facebook page and from her Facebook group. and I printed it out on vellum and I just stuck it on here. What I'm going to write down here is just what I call try this. So because this is my first time using a Weeks Mega and a Weeks Mega as a bullet journal or a wallet bullet journal, what I want to do is just experiment with different layouts and see what works for me. And I'll do that in December. And then for January, I'll have some notes about how I want to change it up or what I want to keep and what worked for me, and just take notes about that. And then the rest of the pages is pretty much how I'm going to use this note section is just with daily logs. I'm not going to give myself too many rules around how I'm using it, but I'll try different layouts and different styles and see what works for me. And then this last page, I did a pen test, and just basically for me, it's just a page to try out different pens and highlighters and markers and see what looks good on this page because it's an off-white. And so, I take a look at what bleeds through or what ghosts and what I like. And then this is the English Mega. So the pages in the back differ a bit from the Japanese version. This section for favorites, I'm going to put in restaurants because my husband and I like to try different ones in the area. So I'll just put a little notes about the ones that we've tried. My 100, because I'm using this as a, bullet journal type of book, I think what I'll put in are just accomplishments or things that I did that are noteworthy, things that I can look back on and say, yay, I did that. So my favorite things, I'll probably fill out most of these things just as, just as a memory keeping type of thing. And then 360 days checkoff sheet, which is in the English version of the weeks, and it's new for this year, as is the English edition. And I think what I'm going to do is mark off the days that I just do something artsy, like sketching and painting. My goal for 2023 is to do a lot more painting in watercolor and inks. And I think I'm just going to fill in the days that I'm actually able to do just something small that has, to do with art, sketching and painting and things. So this cover that I'm using is from Galen Leather. This will be my first year in 2023 using this cover. It's a slim cover, so you can actually fit in the book. You can put this cover in the side and then use it as like a flush cover. But what I'm actually going to do is keep 2 week size notebooks in here. And this first book I actually used this year, so I'll just continue next year. And it's basically just a tracker of my purchases. So anytime I purchase something personal that's stationery related or just a little splurge, I'll put it in here. And I kind of like keeping an account of that, of those purchases. And then this notebook is actually going to be my tracker. So what you'll notice is in the notes section, I didn't have any kind of tracking. I just had, future plans and projects and that kind of thing. But I do like to track chores and just things that are happening around the house and in my life. So what I'm going to use is this little notebook, and how I've set it up so far is I have chores. I'm using pencil just because. So I'm not sure if you can see it clearly, but I just have a list of the chores that I want to track and the weeks on the top here. So it starts from October 2022 and it goes straight to the end of 2023. And I'll just do a dot where that chore was done. And then I have just a period tracker, and I also have a fitness tracker. So this will be by month, and it's by month, but also the days. So I'll just do a dot where I did some kind of fitness. And then I have my finance. It's just an overview of my personal account. And then I'll put down Happy Mail, take notes about who I sent Happy Mail to and who I got Happy Mail from. And this is just a reference thing, just so I know to send thank yous and stuff like that. So I think that's it that I've set up so far. And the rest of the pages, I'll set up more trackers, or I can just use them for notes, or I can use them in 2024. So I like having notebooks that span over a few years, because then I can do year over year type of analysis, or look back on what happened the previous year. And yeah, so these are the two notebooks I'll keep in here, and they're very handy to have. Okay, so that's how I'm using my Hobonichi weeks. So as you've noticed, I'm going to use the weeks as a planner. It will be my everyday carry. I have a couple of other planners. If you want to see my full lineup, I'll actually be posting it soon. So subscribe to my channel and you'll see when I post it, and I'll show you how I'm using other planners in addition to this one to give a little bit more context on a daily basis of what my tasks are and my appointments. The Hobonichi Planner, which is the A6 English version, is going to be my yearly archive. So the difference between an archive and a planner or a journal for me is that an archive is basically just the events and highlights of a year. So what happened in the year? What did I do? What did my family do? And it is basically a reference for me for future years. So if I need to refer back to a past year and see when something happened or when we went somewhere, then I can just quickly flip through the pages and see. And the difference between a planner is that the planner is just what's going on currently, and I don't tend to archive a planner. I usually get rid of them because I don't look back on planners to see what I did. I look back on journals, and for me a journal is more of a personal reflection, my thoughts, my ideas, things that were going on in my mind during that time. And I find looking back on journals way more interesting than looking back on planners. So I tend to keep my journals and my yearly archives. And for 2023, my yearly archive is going to be the Hobonichi A6. And it's housed in this really lovely cover from Hobonichi called Reflect, which has a really nice button on it. And I also got the weekly supplement because this planner does not have a weekly overview, and I do like a weekly layout. So I got this, and how I will use it is basically for taking notes about what my kids were up to and highlights from what they did. So I'll put in, fun stuff they did or said. And also I'll use some stickers, some functional stickers around highlights for each day in the week. So I won't be writing too much in here, but I think it'll just be my highlight reel for my archive. And so the way I'm using this planner is, or this archive, is for the yearly index. I'll put in my kids' height and weight here in the top because there's 2 lines and I have 2 kids, so that's perfect for them. And then I'll write down any highlights or important events that happened, and this will be my yearly overview basically. After something happens, I'll put it in here. And again, I'm using these Midori tabs, and this one's in silver. And then we get into the monthly views. So for the monthlies, I'm going to put in monthly events, possibly anniversaries, birthdays, things that just a highlight of the month. So things that happened and things that we celebrated and brought us joy. And more so, the monthly view will be a table of context for me. So, what I want to look back on in terms of an archive. So those are the monthlies, and then we get into, okay, turning the page to a new year will just be my intentions for the coming year. And again, it'll just be about how I want to use this book and what I want to get out of it. And then we turn the page to coming up. And this is just kind of a page for me to review the month after it happens. So once the month is over, I'll look back and I'll reflect on some of the important events and just some thoughts around how the month went. And possibly I'll put in a photo and a little caption about how that photo represents the month. So for the daily page, I'm going to be using it more of a summary of the day. So again, it's an archive, so it won't be too much about personal journaling or thoughts around the day. It will be more about just what happened, what did we do, what did we get out of that day. And this little meal icon is useful for just taking notes around highlights of meals or special meals that we had. And I do love these little quotes that are at the bottom, and they're in English because it's an English planner. And I just think they're interesting and quirky to have in this book. So that's basically how I'm going to use the daily sections. And then there's a few notes pages here. I'm not entirely sure how I will use it yet, but I'm sure I can fill it up with information. And then we have my 100, and I think what I want to put in here is just some of the first moments we had in the year, adventures that my family went on, and some highlights of moments that I want to remember year over year. And that's basically it. If you have any questions about how I'm using my Hobonichi books, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're using Hobonichi as well and how you're using it. I'd love to know. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm Carola on Instagram. I'm @FromCarola. See you next time. Bye.